opening up the universe to astronomers at all levels. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from ZWO Astro is brand coordinator Sherry Liu. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, friends.
And also, I'm happy to have back with me a friend and Princeton University professor and astrophotographer Bob Vanderbei. Hi, Bob.
Hello, hello, Fred.
Great seeing you again. Bob is a great friend who's also had some wonderful experiences to share with the ZWO Seestar line. First, Sherry, give us a bit of background about the company and maybe some of your background as well.
Sure. Let's start with about DWO. Here DWO, we founded in 2011, in Suzhou, China, and our founder Sam, he's actually began as an astronomy enthusiast. In fact, so he started out by handcrafting his own telescopes back to like 2010. And he's starting to share his progress online on the Cloudy Nights, the forums. You could say he as a like very earlier influencer in the community. And his hand-built telescope and cameras was improved. So start back to them, like people starting to want to purchase his own handcrafted stuff online. So I would say that's how the story begins. And then um uh uh besides on the telescopes, founded at 2011, ZW has launched the very first CMOS astronomy camera in the world. Our CMOS technology dramatically lower the cost and the complexity. That way we able to border access and making astrophotography easier and more affordable. So I think that's kind of the basic about like DWO and how we step by step from 2011 to now. And we're not only making the smart telescope, we also do have the more advanced, I would say, the astro photography gears, like the mounts, the deep sky image cooled cameras, and we also make the ASI Air. I'm not sure if people are familiar with that. So for the AS Air, that was like before AS Air, when you do astrophotography, you need to bring your DC powers, bring your computers, bring all the cable management. But with AS Air, you can control everything in your cell phone or iPad. So that give you more ability to make astrophotography easy and fun. So I think that's the major stunning products we've been launched since now.
Just terrific. So much innovation taking place there, Sherry. Tell us just a little bit about your background as well, so folks know that.
Yeah, my background, before I joined DW, I was study astrophotography for years too. My undergrad was spent at UC Santa Cruz. Back to that, I was study the radio astronomy, major focus on the pulsar stars, and then I went to Brown for my master's. Where I studied the 21 centimeter cosmology focused on the epoch of reionization. So my hobby started really early too. I think this will be showing on like every astronomy students college application letters. Like I saw Carl Sagan's Cosmos. Like I, at the first time and like I got the birthday gift of the telescope. I got a like pretty much similar stories. So I was just like so into astronomy itself by just like looking at the night sky by the naked eye when I was young. Back to then, I was living in China. It's very like northwest part is so far away from like Beijing and both Shanghai. So my hometown get really good seeing conditions, not that too much light pollution. So that's a good thing. And I was just like so into that, and I want to keep pursuing that. So that's why I came here at the US and here at ZWO. So back to I started when I was high school. There's no like C star exist before. So I totally understand the point of how complicated it could be for you to image the target at night. You need to uh, worry about like seeing conditions, like which stars to look at, because it required to have some like basic knowledge of like what RA deck is and what constellation is. So I think I can really feel the path of this field growing. Even it's like only 15 years. I think that's really fast. And I've always have a think about if we can get like even one people who used like Seestar before. So next time maybe when he see like some news on the TV, there's like rocket launch or something like this, he would like spend 5 more minutes on it. And if there is one people doing this, there will be more people getting to this.
Well, your enthusiasm is certainly infectious about this too. And the Sea Star line does make it easy for people. What happens when you put it in the hands of someone who really knows his stuff? So let's bring in Bob. You've been at this for a long time as a professor and author and just an astrophotographer. Tell us about what you've done and how you're using Sea Star, Bob. And we're going to take a look at what you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as Sherry said, I got interested in astronomy also just as a kid. We were up in Canada and went on a vacation in a beautiful night sky. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And that's how it got started. But then my life's path went a different way for many years until about 26 years ago when one of my colleagues here at Princeton, I found out that he had a telescope and he invited me to a star party and I was all excited about it. And so I bought a telescope, a Questar telescope the next day, basically. And 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 that's really when it got started, but 26 years ago. And then I got into astrophotography about 2 years into this whole thing, and I bought a lot of expensive equipment. You have to do polar alignment. These things are so big, I've never taken them away from my house. I just roll them out of my garage because it's on a wheelie bar. I roll it out, I lock it down, I polar align it. Um, by the way, I always did it on my computer. I never did the ASIR thing. Um, and so I have a little table outside of my driveway and control my telescope with my computer. So I did that for many years and ended up publishing a few papers. Sorry, well, multiple papers, but a few books. A book called Sizing Up the Universe, published by National Geographic, and then more recently a book called Welcome to the Universe in 3D, where I have three co-authors, Michael Strauss, who's the current chair of the astrophysics department, Richard Gott, who's retired from the astrophysics department and is the co-author on the first book I mentioned, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's the most famous of the four of us. um, and and when our book came out, by the way, he was on Late Night with Stephen Colbert to promote our book. And the next day, our book was number one in all books on Amazon for about one day, because he was so funny and so smart, and he's just a great person. Neil deGrasse Tyson is. So that was really fun. So yeah, so for many years, I've got web pages, and I can show some of them in a few minutes, where I probably have about 1,000 astro photos that I've done over the last 20 some years, and and it was literally only about a year ago that I transitioned from my large 10-inch reflector telescope to buying a Seestar S30. Um, and I'd heard about Seestar for a few years, but I already had equipment. I wasn't looking to buy new stuff. But what prompted me to actually to make the purchase was, well, partly that I teach a freshman seminar here at Princeton, where I thought a smaller, simpler to use telescope would be good for the teaching that class. But also, you get a wider field of view. I've taken lots of pictures of things, but some of those pictures, you're just taking a picture of the center of this beautiful thing. And the S30, you get that wider field of view, which was part of the reason that I got inspired to go in that direction. And just about a month ago, I upgraded from my S30 to the S30 Pro. And so that's also been a lot of fun. And shall I now go and show some pictures that I've
Yeah,
taken?
let's take a look at what you've been able to do with it because that's the amazing thing here.
So this is my Seestar S30 gallery. So all these pictures were taken, roughly speaking, in the last year. Most of them with the not the Pro, because I only got that a week or two ago. Um, and it would take too long to show all the pictures, but maybe I'll just show some of my favorites. So here's the Whirlpool Galaxy taken without the Pro. This is the S30. And at the bottom of all these pictures, it might be hard to read on the video that we're making, but it's a 60-minute stack of 10-second sub exposures. And that's the thing that's as Sherry was mentioning, this the whole technology is so modern, advanced, so easy. You just take this thing out, you set it down maybe on a tripod or maybe just on your deck somewhere outdoors, and you just push the on button. You go inside, you open up your iPad, you open up the app on your iPad, you say connect to that Sea Star, and then it suggests what things to take pictures of. I mean, you don't have to follow its suggestions. You can take pictures of things that you want to take pictures of, but it's just amazing how it's just really easy. And then because it's a CMOS detector, as Sherry was saying, the old CCDs has a thing called read noise, which was rather significant. And which means every time you take a picture, not only are you getting the picture, you're getting some noise produced by reading out the information from the camera, and uh, and therefore you kind of want to take a long exposure because that way you get more data, more actual stuff than the read noise. But with the new CMOS cameras, the read noise is almost zero, and so it's become a thing where you can take really short exposures and just stack them as you go. And the Seestar software does that automatically. So you just set it up, you turn it on, you tell it what you want to take pictures of, and start taking 10-second sub exposures, and it automatically aligns them and stacks them and makes a better and better picture. So after 60 minutes, which is 1 hour, this is how it looked. This was a beautiful picture. The first 10-second picture didn't look that good, but you could tell that it was the right thing. The Orion Nebula. Um, and so I took this on March 1st. And I've taken this one back in November. And see, I'm just a complete nerd. I took this back in September. The same thing, but it's just, if it's a nice night and that's a thing up in the sky, it's fun to take it and compare these pictures. I mean, they're all basically very similar. Like down here's the Heart Nebula, right here. I have two versions of it, and I did two of them. Um, this was just a raw picture with the Sea Star. Um, just let it go, take pictures. But the Sea Star has another feature, which I think this was the first time I used it, where it can make a mosaic. You can tell it take more than just this one frame here, size frame, but kind of move the camera around, point the telescope a little bit differently and combine these images so you can get a wider field of view with the same camera. And shall I show you the picture I took last night?
Sure.
Took this picture. Oh, this is an interesting comparison because last night I actually made a mistake. Sorry, the night before last, I made a mistake. I took the same thing, the Butterfly Nebula, 2 nights in a row. The night before last is the one on the right here, where it was not using the narrow band filter that's built into the telescope. Um, and I can explain why, but it was mostly my mistake, my fault. So last night I went and redid it to make sure I used the built-in narrow band filter. So I don't know how many of the viewers know what I even mean by that, but the nebulas we see in our Milky Way galaxy have a lot of it is red, and that red stuff we're seeing is hydrogen atoms where the electron orbiting that proton gets excited to some higher energy level, and then it transitions back down, and when it does, it gives off a photon. And that photon, well, it gives off different kinds, but the ones that are visible to us in the visible spectrum are red. And so that's called hydrogen alpha. And since most of our galaxy is hydrogen, because that's what was created in the Big Bang, most of the nebulas we see are red. And so it's a common thing in the astrophotography world to use a filter that blocks out the other light. Because if you live in a place like Princeton, New Jersey, where there's light pollution, you can block out a lot of the pollution and but still get all the light that you wanted. Of course, the stars get dimmer, and that's why on the right the stars are noticeably brighter than on the one on the left, because this was the broadband filter. It was letting basically all the light through, and so we were getting a lot more starlight. Um, but we had to adjust things more to get it to look right, and so we're not seeing the nebula as well as we see over here on the left. So that's what I did last night, and I'll show you this one. This is one of my favorites. This is called the horse head. Why? Because that looks like a horse head. Are you seeing my mouse as I do this?
We do.
Yeah. And so this has been one of my favorite nebulas the entire 26 years I've been into this. In fact, when I bought my Questar telescope, this was one of the very first things I wanted to look at with my telescope. And every night that was a clear night, I took my Questar telescope out and I would try to point it here. And I would see this star here, because this is one of the stars in Orion's belt. I'd point here and I go, okay, now I'll go down to this star, point here. Now I got to move it over here. I see nothing. I see nothing. I see nothing. I have never seen this nebula visually through any telescope, not my little telescope, not my big telescope, not other people's telescopes, because this is a multi-hour exposure. What we're seeing here is not something that's bright and obvious if you just look through a telescope. This is something we can collect the information of. It's a real thing, but you have to really take a long exposure with a camera to see it. And so I was really excited
Bob,
when
describe for us, if you will,
yeah.
the process here, because there was so much there was so much involved before when you would wheel the telescope out of the garage to try to take an image like this, and you published many. Contrast that with the experience now with Seestar, and I guess people like me and other people who don't have much experience would wonder, well, how do you find these? What's the aiming like? Is it difficult to use to find these objects in the sky?
So this is it. It has a tripod. I just set it down, and right here is the on-off switch. I set this out on my deck, out in the back, behind my house. I push the switch, and then after about 10 seconds, it's going to talk to me and say, "Getting started." But maybe I'll set it down again. I don't need to hold it the whole time. Um, I just turn that on. I go in the house. I open up my iPad. I open up the app that I downloaded to control the Seestar telescope. And then it says, what do you want to connect to? And it suggests anything any Seestar it sees. And since I'm at my house, it only sees one thing. I connect to the Seestar in my house. I'm indoors, actually. I mean, I don't have to be indoors, but if it's winter, I'm going to be indoors. In fact, even last night, I do all these things indoors mostly. Um, and so I just connect it. And then I say I want to do astrophotography because you can also use this as a daytime telescope. And then it suggests things on the app, on my iPad. It'll say, because it knows where I am on Earth. It knows my latitude and longitude. It knows how I set it down on my table. Was I pointing it north or a little bit east or what orient? Because it has a built-in compass. It knows what time of the day it is because it has a clock. It knows everything it needs to know. It's all built in. That's what I love about this modern technology. It knows everything it needs to know, and it says, "Oh, here's some good things that you might take a picture, want to take pictures of." And you can just click on them. Usually, by the way, it also gives you a little bar at the top where you can type in the thing you want. And if often the thing that I want isn't necessarily its number one suggestion. And so I often type in the thing I want. But either way, whether I type something, it takes a few seconds to type it, or I click on it, either way I do it, it then says, okay, going there. And then the telescope has motors in here. It turns it, it points it, it orients it, it knows how to point it at the thing you're trying to take pictures of. None of this is manual anymore. It's just it does it. And then once it gets pointed there, it says found it, and then it says auto focusing. And then for another maybe 30 seconds, it adjusts to make sure the focus is perfect, which by the way, it always is, but it's good to adjust it. It's good for it to check every time you turn it on. And it checks the autofocus, and then it says, okay, starting now. And then it takes a 10-second exposure. And then it shows that 10-second exposure on my iPad. I'm sitting in my family room indoors, and I'm seeing the first picture on my iPad. Now and so for the Horsehead Nebula, I just had it didn't offer me to do the Horsehead Nebula, by the way. I had to type IC, was it, I forget, 434? I forget the number of the Horsehead Nebula. Don't have it in front of me. Oh, yes, I do. I did say it right. 434. Um, and it just goes there and it starts taking pictures. And then in 10 seconds, another 10 seconds. And it doesn't show you two pictures. It combines those pictures into one better picture. And then another 10 seconds. Now you got three combined into one better picture. So every 10 seconds, you're getting of course, there's about a second or so for the download. So it's not like you're getting,
How do you know how long to let it go for?
because
Is it
I'm looking
until
at
you're
it.
happy with the image?
Until I'm happy with what I'm looking at. I mean, lots of amateur astrophotography people will just say, go forever, and they'll do something all night one night and they'll come back to the same thing the next night, and then they'll open up some software they have on their computer to combine those two nights pictures. And some people do this for like a whole month. That's not me. When it looks good, I'm happy, and it usually looks good. Well, it depends on what you're taking a picture of. If it's a star cluster, it looks good in just a minute or something like that. But if you're taking a galaxy, you might want to go an hour. A nebula, you might want to go an hour. And if it's a more famous nebula or a more dim nebula, you might want to go 2 or 3 hours. So the picture I took last night was 3 hours and 50 minutes. So that was of the
Just
butterfly.
beautiful work, Bob. And now for people who are watching or listening, Sherry, tell us, this is the other amazing part of this besides the images. Tell us about the models and the pricing.
Yeah, so the model Robert was just introduced the Seestar S30 Pro. That's the newest model we have right now. And the price is $1,699 dollars. Think about that. Because yeah.
$699.
Yeah, 699. Think about that, because at before, if you want to get some really good image, you probably need to get the mounts, get the telescopes, get the camera, get the filter walls, and tripods. All those stuff is like something 5,000 plus. But right now with this only small smart telescope, it's only cost 1699.
So a lot easier to pay for and a whole lot easier to use, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And thank you so much, Robert, for introduce us how to use this telescope. I mean, I try to I wanted to introduce people how to use it, but I think our customer tells it already. And and besides on that, we have a lot of hidden features, I would say. Like a lot of our customer were not really familiar about that. I think one of the really amazing thing is just coming I would say 3 months ago, we have the remote control features just coming out. Think about like you can put one sister to anywhere of on the world, and you can control it from another place, like anywhere on the world on the world. And we've seen it empower like mm, hospitalized childrens or individuals who has a limited mobility. And not even that, think about that. You can place a sister at the other hemisphere. Let's say you can observe the other hemisphere from here to see the sky you would never see here maybe. So that's really amazing. And a lot of people they would really enjoy to put the sister in the remote observatory. That's one of the really famous trend right now. So there we have a great partner at Texas called Starfront Observatory. They're really the great remote observatory. So you can ship one of the gears to there, and they have like maybe the one of the darkest night here in the US.
So we have the S30 Pro at 699, and there's more to come.
Yeah, Yeah. I'm really excited on our S50 Pro, which is gonna come in 2 or 3 months, I would say. A lot of people has been waiting for that and looking forward to that because our first Seestar is the S50 and that was launched 2023. So we've already collected all those 3 years experience to the upcoming models. We want to put like everything we learned, every feedback we get from our customers to make the Seestar better and better. And with S50 Pro, they're gonna bring you a bigger aperture size, so you will get like bigger the better quality of the image. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Very, very exciting. All of this is. Congratulations again on the tremendous innovations there. And congratulations, Bob, on all the work that you do. For more info, it's Seestar, S-E-E, star.com. And for more of Bob's work, Vanderbei, Vanderbei Princeton.edu/images. And you can click on the Seestar tab there and you see all of the great work that's available. Sherry and Bob, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
The Haven 10,000 lantern is a smartly designed, beautiful solar light that you will love indoors or out. It is waterproof with up to 1,200 lumens of brightness. That's a lot of light. And the base becomes a flashlight at the push of a button. The power comes from a built-in lithium-ion battery recharged by the sun. The solar panel is built in, or USB-C. The battery can even recharge your phone. Did we mention how durable it is? How it folds down and can run for up to 120 hours on a charge? But the real power of the Haven Lantern comes from the people behind it and their mission to provide this quality lighting to those in the world who need it most, including in disaster emergencies. Your purchase helps to fund those efforts, and if you use the code Techstination20, you'll get it at a 20% discount. That's Techstination20 at havenlantern.com. Create your haven.